Well, a very, very warm welcome to this afternoon's sunrise safari here in the Sabi Sands. We are in South Africa on a beautiful reserve within the Sabi Sands called Djuma. And we've got very lucky this afternoon. There's two giraffe that we stumbled into and are very happy to be sharing this beautiful sighting with you to start off today's drive. My name is Scott, and Phil is on camera with me this afternoon. Nikki and Eugene are in final control, and there's another vehicle heading out as well with Brent and Andrew. So there'll be two different vehicles driving around, and depending on who finds anything interesting, that's who you'll be stuck with. And we are really looking forward to this afternoon because Brent's had an incredible morning this morning and managed to follow a pack of wild dogs in and around Arathusa, and he's going to be heading out there to see if he can relocate on that pack. It's going to be tricky. They were last seen heading into a very thick riverbed area, and they move huge distances over very short spaces of time. So Brent's got his work cut out for him, but thankfully it's Brent's favorite animal, the wild dog, so he's going to be trying his utmost to find them again, and I hope he does, because it'll be wonderful to share their afternoon's activities with all of you. Now, these two giraffe, I'm hoping, are going to come down and drink. At the moment they haven't moved very much, and they've just been feeding on the leaves of a tree up there. I'm actually not sure what kind of tree it is yet. It's a bit far for me to identify easily, and there's actually a few different bushes all growing out of the same clump there. I can see a weeping wattle and what looks like potentially a guarri bush. Now, again, for those of you who may be joining for the first time, just to let you know, this is a live safari, so what you see is actually happening this very second. And it's also interactive, so please send through any questions or observations or comments. And to do so, it's very easy. All you would do is hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or send an email through to questions@WildEarthTV. So we really do appreciate all your questions and comments, so please send them through. Now, my plan for this afternoon is to initially spend as much time with these two giraffe as we can. They are very close to the Djuma waterhole, and with a bit of luck they'll come down for a drink. And that's why I'm positioned here across from them, because I want to be in position ready to get you the best shots possible as they start to drink, and that is of course only if they do come down to drink. But here comes one slowly. It could possibly just be going to another bush to feed on. I'm sure you would have already noticed the stark difference in color between these two individuals, and that's just got to do with genetics. They're both females actually, and initially from a distance I thought it was a male and a female, simply because it's often the males that become very dark in color, but in this scenario it's a female that's very dark. Well, they're both females, and like I said, it's a combination of genetics and also age that will contribute to their coloration. While we wait for the giraffe, we might as well show you who else is here at the waterhole. There have been a number of different birds coming down to drink, and also feeding on the small insects that are attracted to all the dung that lies around the waterhole. And one of the culprits for leaving so much dung around the edge of the waterhole is right over there. Surprisingly, there's just one here this afternoon, and it does vary from day to day. Sometimes there can be as many as 20 buffalo here. But But today it's just this lone bull chewing the cud. I'm not quite sure why there's so much foamy saliva building up in his mouth. It's usually not the case. So maybe he's a little bit sick. And it's not uncommon for animals, especially the older animals, to start showing signs of weakness and illness during this harsh time of the year. Our winter is cold and dry, there's not lots of food around, and that does really take its toll on the older animals. On top of the regular winter conditions, we've had an exceptionally dry, rainy season leading into this winter, and the summer rainfall was probably half of what it usually is. So you could say we're experiencing semi-drought conditions, making it very hard for the herbivores. There's no shortage of water in the Sabi Sands, but there is a shortage of food. The blacksmith lapwing is the little bird that flew into shot now, and it looks like it's having a little bit of a territorial dispute. Great work on camera there, Phil. And it was chasing a small bird called a three-banded plover out of its turf, and just a little bit of territorial bullying there from one big bird to another smaller one. It's a very quiet afternoon in terms of bird song. Having said that, though, there's actually a few birds cheeping and chirping as we sit here. I can hear some drongos and starlings calling. And it's quite warm still. It's about 24 degrees Celsius, which is about 75 Fahrenheit. But there's a bit of a breeze picking up, and that breeze is certainly going to add to the chill factor as the evening progresses. You'll be able to hear some oxpeckers which are flying over now. Kind of rasping, rattling call. Well, because the giraffe are not coming to us, I think we might want to take a drive up to them. They're such bizarre animals, nothing quite like them on the planet, and I would like to take you to go and have a closer look at them. So, without further ado, hold on tight, we're off. In terms of other updates from this morning, I wasn't out on drive and enjoyed a morning to sleep in and get on top of a little bit of my own personal admin. But James and Brent were, and like I said, Brent was very lucky with the wild dogs, his favorite animal, and James was less lucky, and he said it was a fairly tricky morning, especially in terms of cats, lion and leopard, or any sign of them. There were not many leopard tracks or lion tracks on the property, so there's not a huge amount for me to actively go and follow up on this afternoon. But that's not a problem at all, because a lot of what goes on here we don't know about, and we can be very pleasantly surprised by the animals and their whereabouts. Oh, just like I've been surprised this very second, and just as you will also be very surprised. There's a new addition, and a very interesting one at that. Take a look here. Not too but 3 giraffe. And the one that's just arrived on the scene is a very large male, and I'm guessing he's bending down to pick up a bone. Now you may be asking himself, why on earth would a giraffe be eating a bone? And that's to obtain calcium. It's not uncommon for a giraffe to chew on bones, and there is one chewing on bones right now, the one on the right. There we go. Look at that. Perfect timing. It's a term known as osteophagia, and it was just the other day that I saw a giraffe doing it as well. Sadly, we couldn't share that shot with you. Now the big male in the background has also picked up a large bone, I think, yeah. So if Phil just pans over to the right slightly, you better be able to get both in shot. And there they go. Who would have thought? And this is exactly what I was talking about just before we got into position here. We just never know what these animals are going to do and surprise us. Now, the fact that I did see a giraffe doing this just the other day may mean we could possibly read into the fact that it's because it's a dry season and there's not such high levels of good food around that the giraffe are now forced to try and obtain important nutrients from external sources or other sources that they typically wouldn't rely on. And he certainly has chosen an interesting bone. It looks like the rib bone. I'm not sure what animal did die there. I can hear a lot of birds alarm calling, and I did also hear, oh, he just dropped his treat. But I did also hear a squirrel alarm calling earlier. So we are going to keep that in mind, as there could be a predator nearby. It could simply be a bird of prey, or a mongoose, or a snake, something that will be very difficult for us to find, or it could be something large, like a leopard. Well, good afternoon, Angela in Boston, and thank you very, very much for sending your question through. Angela has heard that giraffe are quite vicious animals, and they can be very unwelcoming to anything that they may come across. Angela, I'm not sure who told you that, but you may want to double check which giraffe it was that they were talking about. I've never seen angry or violent giraffe in all my time. They are very, very placid animals, and the only time that I've heard of one actually causing trouble to a human was in a small reserve with no dangerous animals where people can walk around, and she was taking her dog for a walk, and her dog started nipping at the giraffe's feet, which caused the giraffe to try and kick down on it, and they will defend themselves if they are being bothered by any of the predators by using those incredibly long legs to kick out. And the owner of the dog tried to run in to rescue her dog and caught a stray hoof, and that was the end of that. To be kicked by an animal of this size will almost be a direct ticket off this planet. So try and avoid that, but you can understand the giraffe's predicaments. It had a dog nipping at its heels and wanted to get rid of it. I've also seen giraffe simply look at leopard and cheetah walking past them with no concern really, because they know they are far too big for a cheetah or a leopard to take down. But they don't chase after them, even though they could. And interestingly, one thing that you can do, which can be quite fun with giraffe, is if they are in an open plain, if you go and lie down in that plain, they can sometimes come just curiously up to you to investigate what's going on, and you can have a giraffe standing fairly close to you trying to work out what's what. Let's see if this giraffe closest to us, which just dropped its bone, tries to bend over to pick it up, or maybe it's had enough. Well, this is too good to be true, and headed out this afternoon not knowing where I was going or what I was doing, and I'm really, really fortunate that we are all sitting here and enjoying this really interesting behavior. It's not seen very often, and I've never shared it with any of you in the 7 months that I've been here. Osteophagia, the consumption of bones by a herbivore. So who said only hyena were designed to chew on bones out here? The giraffe also play their role in breaking down those nutrients and getting them back into the nutrient cycle. They do look like they may be battling a little bit though with the job at hand, and this individual, you can see, doesn't know what to do with its lips. Again, beautiful comparison we just saw there of the different colorations of these giraffe. And to be brutally honest, I'm actually not sure if this is a young male or a female. I'm guessing it's a female, but a young female. That's the one in shot. It's most certainly a very large male to the right of her, chewing on that big bone. And the way that you can tell easily that he's a big old male is that those little horn-like structures on the top of his head are bald, whereas if we pan slowly across to the female on the far left, because she's facing away from us, we'll see clearly that she's got thinner horn-like structures called ossicones, but they are also hairy. So it's an easy one to remember. The females have hair and the men are balding, which is no different to us as humans a lot of the time. Oh, well spotted, Phil. The young female did bend over to pick up that bone that she's been chewing on, and you can't help but laugh at those lips. Used to nibbling on leaves, now she's chewing on a bone that's certainly requiring a lot of her concentration. Can you believe this? We've got so lucky with the shots. Two giraffe in the same shot, both nibbling away on their bones. I haven't been able to establish if the female off to the left is also chewing on a bone, but judging by the way that she's holding her head, I'm guessing she is. She's also kind of putting her head up at strange angles, trying to get that bone into the right part of her mouth. And surely, after they've been nibbling on these bones, they're going to head down for a drink to wash it all down. So we are not going anywhere, and I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. Well, good afternoon, Rosie. And Rosie sent through a question on Twitter using the hashtag SafariLive, if any of you would also like to send questions. Rosie would like to know, how old do I think the big bull giraffe, the very dark male in the back, is, chewing on that long bone? And I'm guessing he's in his prime, somewhere between or around 15 years old, possibly a little bit older than that. It's an exceptionally difficult thing to do, to name or to guess the age of animals, and the only time that guides can accurately do it is when, with animals like lion or leopard that are followed very closely, when we see them mating, we've got a good idea of their gestation period, and that they could give birth about 3 months after that. And then during that period, we can often very closely guess which day that the cubs were born. Seldom is it ever an event that's shared with us, but it's the only time where we'll have accurate ages of animals, with animals that are closely followed like leopard and lion. And even then, there will be varying answers that you get from the different guides. But he's in his prime, and they live from about 20 to 25 years, depending. So I'd put him at around between 15 and 20. Well, hello Zach, and I hope you're enjoying being with us on the Sunset Safari. Zach is only 10 years old, and I'm very impressed, Zach, that you already know or have heard this about giraffe. And Zach said he's heard that giraffe have got the same amount of bones in their neck as a mouse. And that definitely could be true, Zach. I'm not sure if it is, but what I can tell you is that they've got the same amount of vertebra in their neck, or bones in their neck, as we do as humans. And look at how much shorter our neck is than theirs. So it is very interesting, and the fact that us as humans have got the same amounts of vertebra, or bones, means it's not impossible that mouse also have the same. Sadly, I don't know that for certain, Zach, but it could very well be true. It's just that the giraffe have got a very specially designed bone that makes up their neck, and it's much longer than ours, and it'll be much longer than that of a mouse as well. Thank you though, Zach, and very well done. You've obviously been listening at school or somewhere to have found out that interesting fact. Well, good afternoon, Lisa, and welcome on board. Lisa would like to know what other animals will eat bones, and I'm guessing you're asking which other herbivores. I have seen impala chewing on bones occasionally. Other than that, I personally haven't seen too many herbivores doing it, but there's nothing saying that they shouldn't. They are simply just trying to receive extra nutrients, or calcium mainly. But giraffe do have an interesting palate in that they almost do it more than any other animals that I have seen. It's not something that I've seen them commonly do, but I've seen giraffe chewing on bones more than any other herbivores. I think we may get lucky, and it looks like this big old boy is thinking about heading down to the Djuma waterhole for a drink. And even if we weren't here sharing this beautiful picture with you, in a few moments the giraffe will be in clear shot of a live waterhole cam that monitors this waterhole. And if you are ever wanting to see what's going on here, you can just log on and check out the website. Occasionally people get lucky and spot leopard and send us messages, and then we race across here, and I'm sure we would have also got some updates as soon as the zoomie controlling that camera had have spotted these giraffe. think I'm going to reposition because I'm fairly confident he's going to be, sorry Phil, is going to be taking a drink fairly shortly. And it really is beautiful to watch because they flick their head up at the very last moment once they've taken a sip, and it makes for some really awesome scenes. Have I got a little bit ahead of myself? Time will tell. I've seen him starting to chew on some leaves, but he may just be having a quick snack before he comes down for a drink. Try and choose the best place to wait from the get-go so you don't have to reposition if he does come down. So just give me a moment or two, please, to find out where that spot is going to be exactly. Afternoon, Tyler, and I hope you are enjoying this fun sighting of the giraffe. Tyler's only 12 years old and from the Dayton's Children's Hospital, and that's where some of our favorite viewers are all sitting, and I hope you and all your friends there are having fun with us this afternoon. And don't forget, you are going to go across to Brent quickly. He's going to be driving around looking for the wild dogs, which is very exciting. Tyler would like to know if the giraffe have got sharp teeth to help them chew the bones. And no, Tyler, they don't. They've got flat teeth like we have at the back of our mouth, not like our ones in the front that are a little bit sharp. And that's why you may have seen that the giraffe were chewing for so long, not actually managing to break the bone, but they probably would have just been rubbing small little bits of bone each time they chewed with their very flat teeth. Their teeth, because they mainly feed on leaves, need to be flat so that they can grind up and crush the leaves with these flat teeth. If their teeth were very sharp, it would be difficult to grind up the leaves every time they bit down. So because they feed on leaves mainly, that is what they're designed to do best. And it's only every now and then that they will chew on bones. So we've got very lucky to actually see them doing that. But thank you very much, Tyler, for sending through your question. And I hope you have a fun safari with us this afternoon. Also, Tyler, you can take a look now. The giraffe is busy eating what it normally eats, and that is leaves. And it's got very flat teeth, just like those at the back of our mouth. Well, while we sit here and wait for the giraffe to come and have a drink, I think it's a great opportunity for Brent to give you an update as to how his afternoon's been so far and to see whether he has had any luck on the wild dog search. So over to Brent, and we'll catch up with you all a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Brent. For those of you who don't know, I've got Andrew on camera with me, and I'm sure Scott's done the rest of the introductions. We've come back to Arathusa, and we're checking that area, the last direction we had those wild dogs heading. We followed them for a little bit after we finished a drive this morning just to see where they were going, and they went into some really thick Tamboti thickets and we lost them. For those of you who might be new, we are on a live African safari at the moment. I'm on Arathusa Private Game Reserve, and welcome on the back of my game drive vehicle. We are looking for the African wild dog. It is the second most endangered canid in Africa and one of the most endangered carnivores in the world. There's only around 4,000 left in the whole of Africa, and the Kruger population's around 400 to 500, which is one of the only few viable breeding populations left in the world. So really exciting to be able to spend time with an animal that is this under threat. And we also are interactive, so you can ask me questions, whether it be about the wild dog or what else we're seeing out there in the bush. And you can do that by emailing us on questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So we had tracks down in the area around the airstrip heading this way. So we're going to keep going down this road, check if the tracks cross, and if they have, we'll move along to the next road. Oh, yeah, Scotty's got something of a more reptilian nature, and we're going to cross back to Scotty quickly while Andrew and I keep checking for the tracks. So we'll see you a little later.
Welcome back, everyone, and sorry to steal you away from Brent's after just a few seconds, but we couldn't resist. Look at how awesome this little animal is. Well, to be honest, it's not very little. It's about 3 feet long, maybe 2.5 feet. And it looks like it's coming straight up to our vehicle, which is a big surprise. They're usually quite nervous of us. And it's called a Nile monitor lizard, or a water monitor lizard. And what it's doing now is it's searching for something to feed on. You can see how it's pushing out that tongue of his, that forked tongue, every few seconds, and that's essentially an extra nose, so they use that tongue to help smell and detect prey. And I can't believe it is coming right up to us. This is going to be undoubtedly the best view that I've ever shared of one of these animals with you, and I don't know if it's coming to seek out shade underneath the vehicle or what's going on, but it's just meters away. Absolutely awesome. Oh, now it's realized something's wrong. There we go. That's a bit better. That's the behavior we're used to. And they can move very quickly. I don't know how it didn't see us here. We are parked in a very open area in a very large car, but you could see that look of shock on its face as it realized that it had made a wrong move. And now you'll notice that it can swim very, very well. So now it is completely swimming. It'll be a bit too deep for it to stand there, or maybe I'm wrong, but they can swim exceptionally quickly, and they'll use their tail, much like a crocodile, to propel them forward. And as their name suggests, the water monitor, they live in water and are very good swimmers in and around water. They do have a cousin called the rock monitor, which is very similar in appearance, but it doesn't have as pretty yellow markings. It's a bit more drab and dull, and it's got a far bigger and more robust head. And sometimes we see them poking their heads out of holes in trees. Wow, what a pleasant surprise, and the animals continue to entertain us here at the Djuma waterhole. And at this rate, we're not going to have to go anywhere this afternoon. The big male giraffe that I was hoping was going to come down and drink has now moved off a little way. So that's not looking promising anymore, but who knows, maybe the others will come for a drink, the other two females. And it looks like the monitor lizard here is about to complete one full length of the Djuma waterhole. I'm not sure where it appeared from. As we linked across to Brent for him to say hello to you, we had to call you back hurriedly to make sure he didn't miss that action. And apologies for that, but there's a strong chance that Brent is going to find those wild dogs. I'm feeling confident. And when he does, you'll have lots of fun times with him a little bit later on. Wow. I wonder what the two female giraffe are up to. I can just see one poking her head out in a similar area to where we left them. So we may go and have one more look at them and see what else is going on nearby. So hold on as we reposition. Good afternoon, Ellen in Arkansas, and thanks very much for sending your question through. Ellen's interested to know whether giraffe in zoos will require bone, or will they get enough minerals and nutrients and calcium from their diets. And I don't have a clue. I've never actually been to a zoo before. I've been very privileged in that I can come and see the animals in their natural environment. Well, I guess that's African animals. I haven't seen or anything in zoos. Bottom line is I'm not too sure what goes on in zoos, but I'm guessing that they will be fed pellets a lot of the time to help substitute just the leaf matter that they would normally feed on. And in those pellets, I'm guessing they're going to receive the required nutrients for them to be healthy. But I can't be certain of that. I'm just going to stop here and see if this is a decent angle for Phil. Is that okay? Good. And it would be interesting to know. I'm sure there are possibly some zoos out there where they simply feed their giraffe bones occasionally, as like I said, it is one of their traits to chew on bones. And these two ladies are still busy working at it. Good afternoon, Lynn in Michigan. And Lynn, I'm very happy that you also prefer the darker giraffes. They're also my favorite, and I don't know what it is about the darker giraffes that makes them more appealing to me. There's a Burchell starling sitting up above them there that we can see. Anyway, Lynn would like to know what causes them to be dark. And it's merely a genetic difference, and even though these are both females, it's more likely that males become darker, and I've seen some males before with almost dark charcoal black patches as opposed to dark brown. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a little bit closer so Phil can take you on a close-up tour of their patterns and colorations. We haven't been very close to them yet this afternoon, and I think they're quite relaxed with us. But then essentially it's a combination of genetics and age. I've found typically you don't very often see a young giraffe that's dark in color. They're typically older. And then it just depends on the individuals. Just like us as humans, you get some blondes, you get some brunettes. So no different to us. Now we're nice and close, so you're going to be able to enjoy some great views of them, and the sunlight is perfectly shining on from behind us. Well, good afternoon, Sue in North Carolina, and So I hope you're enjoying this very close-up view. Look at those eyelashes, the little whiskery hairs coming off her chin. Absolutely awesome. Sue would like to know, how flexible is their neck and how far can they swing it around? And they are surprisingly flexible, Sue, and the males will use their necks to fight, and they bludgeon one another with those horn-like structures on their heads with incredible speed and power. But in terms of an angle or amount of degrees, it would be hard for me to describe. And I hope you're enjoying this wonderful tour of the giraffe's neck that Phil's just taking us on. I'm fairly certain you'll be able to hear the crunching down on the bones. So I'm just going to keep quiet for a second or two. And is she looking for another one? I think she could be. There's a little oxpecker sitting patiently on her back. Obviously, it's had enough to eat already today. Thought you would have been close enough to a giraffe to hear it chewing on a bone. I certainly didn't think that was going to be happening this afternoon. And the surprises of the African wilderness will always keep the safari experience exciting. It doesn't matter how many times you've been on safari and how many times you've seen any given animal. They always provide us with new and interesting sights. Which is what keeps me coming back every day. And for a lot of you who are regular viewers, I guess you've been caught in the same trap as myself. And for any of you who may be new viewers, it's a friendly warning that this can be addictive. And again, to any of the newcomers who may have just joined in, we've got new people joining in all the time, sending in questions from all around the world, and it's so good to have all of you with us. Just to remind you all, my name is Scott, and Brent is out searching for other animals on another vehicle, and if you haven't met him yet, you'll meet him shortly. And hopefully he's going to find some wild dog to share with you, but in the meantime, look at this. It's all happening here. There's an oxpecker that's landed proudly on top of the giraffe's head, looking around. I'm not sure exactly what for, but it's looking around like it seems to be of importance. Obviously, it's an important oxpecker because it's almost holding its chest out to us, saying, I'm the king of the castle. And they'll be looking for parasites on the giraffe, so doing a huge favor to the giraffe and ridding them of blood-sucking ticks. Well, there's a lot of bones that I can see lying about here, and I'm guessing it could be possibly an old buffalo carcass, but they have got no shortage of bones to chew on. And no shortage of water nearby. I wonder if they will go down for a drink. The male has moved off, so he obviously came by to test if any of these females were potentially interested in some romancing. And after establishing that they weren't, he has continued without them. A giraffe will only fight for and hang around females when they can mate with them. Otherwise, the males will be on their own or in small herds. and the females often also in small herds. Different to another iconic animal of Africa, the zebra, which will fight for females throughout the year and have his harem of ladies that he cares for and protects. Well, good afternoon, Lisa. And on this very topic that I've just been chatting about, Lisa would like to know, how do giraffes compare to impala in terms of fighting over females? And it's fairly different, Lisa. The impala are unique in this area in that they've got a very concentrated rutting period for a short period of time in May. Basically, you could call it the month of May. Some people will say the first 2 weeks of that month of May will be the most intense mating period for male impala, and that's when they will compete ferociously amongst one another for rights to females. With giraffe and most other herbivores, the rutting or mating season is not necessarily as strict and as short, and that allows males bigger windows, but there is still natural competition that leads the males towards the females when they know they could get lucky, and those males will naturally have to compete with one another. So there still is competition for females, but not to the same degree and intensity over a short period of time like impala. Good question though, Lisa, and keep sending the questions through, everyone. I highly appreciate it, and it also helps us to clear up any misunderstandings or just help one another to learn and share facts on whatever we've heard or thought about these incredible animals. They've got wonderful long tails, the giraffes. Perfect fly swatters, which you can see it actively doing now. Well, I'm not sure about you guys, but I am dying to find out about how Brent's wild dog chase is coming along. And why don't we head across to him, get a quick update to see how he's coming along, and we'll keep you updated if anything changes with the giraffe. We'll see you a bit later.
Scouring this area for wild dog. There's one set of tracks that go out south, but I'm not convinced they're from this afternoon. I think that's from earlier today when they were running around everywhere. For those of you who weren't on the sunrise safari, we literally followed wild dogs east, west, north, south, every direction possible under the sun, and we lost them. It's not us, Andrew, to pan across to this thicket over here, and we lost them after we went off air this morning in this incredibly dense drainage line in Timboti thicket. And I've just come back and done a loop around the area, and I still can't find any tracks. So there's a very strong possibility that they're sleeping in this drainage line, and it is getting to the time of day, and it has been quite a cool day where they might think about moving, and very exciting. So just stopping here, we're using our other senses a little bit, we're listening, and with wild dogs you can actually smell them. Those who might remember from the sunrise safari, I described them as a cross between a wet Labrador and a moldy cupboard, is the best description I think I can describe of how a wild dog smells. But I think what we're going to do now is, hopefully they are still in this thicket, and the closest water and the most likely place for them to move towards after this is the Arathusa Dam. So what we can do is maybe go have a quick look at what the remnants of that carcass, see if there's anything left more than what was left from this morning. They did kill an impala there, for those who might have missed it. We missed the kill, but we went back where they started playing with the scraps of the carcass. So maybe hyenas found it, maybe there's some vultures there. We can go have a look, and I'm sure there might be some hippo basking out of the dam as well, but we're not going to leave this area just yet. I'm still quite confident that the dogs are around. So just to make certain that this is quite a busy road, that I haven't missed anything, I'm just going to check it a little bit further than I did earlier down here, in case they might have snuck past me. Got some Inyala over here and some waterbuck behind them. Always good when you're looking for wild dogs to check the alertness level of your small to medium sized antelope, because if they've seen dogs recently, they look like they have been on the worst day of their life. They look very stressed, jumpy. And as you can see from these Inyala and waterbuck, it doesn't look like that at all. So the dogs are probably still resting up somewhere, hopefully close by. But we'll leave these wonderful antelope to themselves. And is there some warthogs there as well? Yes, there are. Some pigs just behind there. So we got warthog, Inyala, and waterbuck. Sorry guys, I've just got to talk on the radio for a second. Go ahead, Ryan. I've already done that side. If you just want to ask Yolanda to check that Nkonzo at the pipeline junction, I'm not sure whether it's from this morning before the sighting or it's from during the day, but I can't see where that Nkonzo goes. I checked central down to the airstrip, and then this morning I also checked down to the bottom end of the airstrip, and there was nothing. There we go. That actually looks to be possibly that family of warthogs we've seen before around Arathusa. That very successful mother who managed to raise 4 babies, and in an area that's got so many leopard like this. There we go. There come the babies.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. Trouble in paradise. It looks like she might have lost one, possibly. But that is nature taking its course. Just listening carefully now.
Oh, one more just ran past. Look at 5 warthogs.
Oh, there's more coming. Oh no. There comes the last little baby. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, well done, Mom. Still doing a good job. Okay. Sorry guys, I've just got a lot of radio chatter at the moment. I'm just listening to all the updates from around the reserve. But while I do that, I'm going to start moving towards the dam. we're gonna head across the Arathusa Dam wall shortly. Seems like most of the radio updates in my ear are over, so back with you. Always good to listen carefully, lets you know what's happening in other parts of the reserve, even outside of the areas we can traverse, because that information might lead to, as it did the other night, led to a leopard sighting, that there was a leopard off our traverse area, but we heard via these updates that he was moving towards our boundary. Here we go. Arathusa Dam. And the hippos are not sunbathing as they were this morning. And there might be one on the other side. Hi, Dwarf from Pittsburgh. Welcome on the Sunset Safari, Dwarf. Dwarf would like to know, are wild dogs the same as the African painted dog? They are. They've got a couple of different names. They're also sometimes called the African painted wolf or painted wolves, but they all are the same. Where a lot of those names come from is from their Latin name. Their scientific name is Lichen pictus, which basically in a direct translation stands for painted wolf. Licon, I think in French, is actually wolf. Licon. Maybe my pronunciation's a bit off, but that is the beginning part, in pictus, so painted. Here we go. There's a hippo's making some ripples near us. See if he pops out now. And there's another one there trying to be a bit more there he is. Oh, another one. Got a bit of a headdress on today. There's quite a few here, two distinct little groups, but I'm pretty sure there'll only be one dominant hippo bull inside this dam. Can't see him right now. Oh. You can see this wonderful, if we pan out a little bit, this wonderful almost lawn around us, and this very short grass. And this short grass that we're seeing here on the edge, in quite a lot of places, are referred to as hippo lawns. So you can see now, as Andrew's showing you nicely there, it's very short grass in front of us, and that's maintained by the hippos. So when they come out of the water in the evening, they'll graze these lawns, keeping the grass really short, and that attracts a lot of other animals to these short grass or these hippo lawns, like wildebeest, which are quite a selective feeder, and you see there's quite a lot of wildebeest dung around, and buffalo dung. So very interesting. And hippos and elephants are two of the only species that are actually sort of ecosystem managers. They can change an ecosystem. So in places up in northern Botswana, the Okavango and Luangwa and Zambia, the way hippos move and walk and graze actually maintain, they almost farm or keep a certain area to the way they like it. And the same with the elephants in the Mapani woodland. And here we see with the elephants with the round leaf teak, they keep them all short. So elephants and hippo are very two sort of ecological keystones in a system. So if you remove one or both of those, and you get bush encroachment and lots of other things, or like in the Okavango, the waterways clog up, the papyrus channels stop flowing. So very important species. Oh, I see some vervet monkeys up there. There we go. Hello. Apparently everyone's watching us on the Arathusa cam as well. There's a very confused waiter waving back at us, saying, "Now why are they waving at me?" So we're gonna go have a quick. Oh, what's that there? I don't think that is a bird we see every day around these parts. Oh, it is. It's just sitting at a very funny angle. There's a little hummercorp. He's just got his head tucked in there. I thought it was a moorhen for a second. There he is. Oh, and then looks at some of the hippos have come a little bit out the water a bit there. Here we go. Let's have a look there. There, the hippo. Looks like that one's leaning on another's chin. Oh, well, it's leaning his chin on another's back. We just got an update in from Chris. Thanks very much for the update, Chris. She, I think, has been reading the Arethusa blog and said Kunyuma was spotted somewhere in Arethusa. I actually had a chat to the other guides from Arethusa. That's actually a hippo mating. So when you look there a bit more carefully, there's a female underneath them. So there's the dominant bull, and there she is. So obviously, being Chris, I'll get back to your update in a second on Kunyuma male leopard, but we've got mating hippos, so I think we'll stick with that for now. So being such large animals, hippos are only able to mate in the water where there's a bit of buoyancy to aid them. So the next generation of hippos being made at the moment, live on safari. That is definitely not something you see every day, especially not in these parts, because we've got very limited large water holes where there's enough, feisty, enough water to keep resident hippos. So this is really, really special to be able to watch this. Oh, and there's a drongo having a drink in between. And some voyeurs around. So there's a bit of wondering about why the rest of the herd would be hanging around this. You must remember, with animals, this takes place in the middle of the herd, so there's none of the sort of normal human worries. The only hippo that would have to worry about getting too close to that normally would be another bull hippo, which would cause a very big fight. But I can only see one big bull in this group, so they're just being hippos in a raft, and all the other hippos are around, and this would happen regularly like that. And difficult to say. I'd probably say the calf on the left is too young to belong to the female that is being mated. Oh, there's some oxpeckers, and they've also come to join in. They're going to use the hippo as a safe drinking spot and also to feed off the possible parasites. So he's getting really climbing up onto her back, and you can imagine with his short little legs, that mating would not be possible on land. Oh, there we go. We've got, there we go, a little bit of displaying afterwards. And it's all over. So we've got a question from Lisa. Hi Lisa, welcome on the Sunset Safari. Nice to have you with us. Lisa would like to know, as the water dries up, would the dominant male hippo start letting the younger males or tolerate young male hippos in the water? Lisa, unfortunately he wouldn't. Well, I think he's trying to get amorous again, except she's not as keen this time. It could be quite interesting. We could get some quite nice displays, so use screenshots, guys, get ready. You never know when that might burst out of the water with a nice big open mouth. I think definitely worth hanging around for a few minutes and watching this. We're just seeing now they've all gone under the water, and we've got a question from Jean in North Carolina. Hi Jean, welcome on the Sunset Safari. Jean would like to know, what is the gestation period of a hippo? Jean, it's quite a long one, and you find a lot of your bigger animals have longer gestation periods. So a hippo is, depending on certain areas, it's between 225 and 257 days. And they do breed all through the year. Guys, we just got an update. There's something really exciting happening with Scotty, so we're going to cross across to him quickly. We're going to keep checking for the wild dogs, and we'll be back with you later. Good luck, Scott.
Very, very vehicle, and the reason why we are rushing is we've just got a report of a leopard, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to find it. Oh, beautiful, a big male giraffe, but we've just seen a few others, but we'll have a quick glimpse as we try and sneak past without bothering him too much. Sorry about that. And what an afternoon. We're very lucky with the giraffe so far. And if you've just joined, apologies for the big rush, but it will hopefully be worthwhile. In the next 30 seconds or so, we'll be arriving at a waterhole where there's reports of a leopard. Now, it was seen by somebody who could not come onto our property, and there's therefore nobody with it now, and that's why I'm in a big rush to get into this area before it disappears. But at any given point now, and please look very carefully, the leopard could be here somewhere. It was about 5 minutes ago that the leopard was seen coming in this direction towards a waterhole that we're about to arrive at. And we don't know where it is or what it's doing, but we know it could be here somewhere. Ooh, interesting. There's a lot of impala here, so I'm going to slow down, try and creep up. Good. without interfering with all these impala and what they're up to, or the leopard and what it may be up to. If you saw two Egyptian geese on the water's edge, you can see the dam in the background, and I thought that was the leopard, but it wasn't. This looks like a bachelor herd of impala. They're all males, they've all got horns, and they're incredibly beautiful, but right now we are sadly going to bypass them in order to try and find this leopard. Where is it hiding? Now, search anywhere where you're feeling lucky. It could be up in a tree, it could be on the ground, in the shade. It's cooling down now, so who knows, maybe it's just basking in the afternoon sun. Keep scanning and searching around anywhere where you think this leopard could be. Now what the plan is to do a quick drive around and see if we can't spot it, and if we can't, then what we'll do is we'll stop and listen and see if the bush can tell us where this leopard is. It's possibly going to be moving around, and as it moves, various animals like monkeys or birds will alarm call and alert us to where it could be. Ephraim, do you have any more updates, or is it in the Molwati or heading straight towards the dam itself? Come out wherever you are, little leopard. I'm not sure if it's a male or a female. All I've been told is that there was a leopard somewhere in this area. Oh, here we go. I've spotted a vehicle, and that's always a good sign. And I think Ephraim's already found this animal for us. What a luck. I'm guessing it's just beyond Ephraim's vehicle, which is on the other side of us, and what we must do is just watch out for. I'd have to do some funky camera work to avoid filming these guests on the other vehicle, but it looks like the leopard's on the other side of the vehicle. So we're just going to creep around, and within a few moments we'll be able to see him, I'm fairly certain. A male, it looks like, and he's up on a termite mound. I wonder if it's quarantine or Kunyuma. It looks like it could be. It looks like it could be one of two young brothers that we've been watching grow up over the last few months. And to any of you who can help us identify him, please send us your thoughts. I'm just going to reposition quickly because going to be able to see him again unless we do. He's very close to our southern boundary, and it looks like he could be heading in the wrong direction, so I'm just going to have to race over to make sure we do get one last glimpse of him before he does cross, if he indeed does. Hold on everyone, sorry about the bumps. Hello everyone, how are you doing? Right. Very good, thank you. Now, here he is, he's just going to pop out at any moment. That's what I know. Absolutely beautiful, look at this. Perfect afternoon sunlight. And it looks like Kunyuma, one of the young brothers, and we haven't seen them for weeks. I'm guessing it's him also because he doesn't have a wound on his back, and his brother Quarantine has apparently been wounded fairly recently. So either Kunyuma or possibly another young male called Bahuti, but to me it looks like Kunyuma. And isn't he an absolutely beautiful leopard? Sadly, he has just crossed our southern boundary. But that's not to say he may not slink back across at any moment. I'm just going to reposition the vehicle again. And actually I'm not. Sorry Phil. We'll just stay. Oh no, we're going to have to. He's disappeared now, and I'm just going to see if we can't get one last view of him as he disappears down this pathway. Well, it was brief, and I'm glad I did rush over here, because if we hadn't have driven quickly, we wouldn't have got that brief but beautiful sighting of him. I'm just going to reverse again ever so slightly. We may get one last little gap. No luck. But it looks like he may have turned and be coming back towards us. No, he hasn't. And difficult to decide what to do, but what I can tell you is that sadly we cannot follow him. Where is he going? Well, I think that's that for now, and I hope you all enjoyed that. What a wonderful sighting it was, and brief, like I said, but how lucky are we to have had already such a wonderful afternoon, the giraffe, and then we got that call about the leopard, rushed over here, had a brief view of him, and now sadly he's moved off, but like I say, he could return at any time, and hopefully he will. We haven't seen these leopards for weeks, and even though they may have been on our property, they have been eluding us and evading us. So what we can do is just be happy that we've seen them. They were actually born in and around the Djuma property, and their mother is called Karula. It's a female leopard who's lived on Djuma for many years, and for the last 7 months we've seen that leopard and his brother more than any other leopards. They have been so good for us, and we've had so many great sightings of them. Anyway, what we're going to do is, there's so many vehicles rushing over here to try and see them, that we're going to move along and go back to the area where we were at Twin Dams, where all those male giraffe were, and see what they're up to. Oh, male giraffe, male impala, sorry. Well, thank you very much to Raisa, who is one of our leopard identification experts, and Raisa does also think that it was Kunyuma, and thank you very much for that. For those of you who are new to the show, it really is interesting how closely we get to follow the leopard within the Sabi Sands. It's actually uncommon to have such relaxed leopards, and we're very fortunate here in that they have become, after many years of gentle and rigorous protocol, making sure guides do not chase off leopards, and they slowly get them used to the vehicles. We can now be allowed an insight into their lives. Because they allow us to view them, we get to spend incredible moments with them, and you can identify the different leopards by different spot patterns. All of the leopards have got different spots, and it's these varying spot patterns that help the experts like Raisa to positively identify and know for certain that it is a specific leopard. It's really not easy to do, and I am not good at doing it, so I love it when we get external help from you, the viewers, and we are very grateful for all the help you do give us. afternoon, Laura, and thanks for sending your question through. Laura would like to know if we know who injured Quarantine, the young male, and that is a very good question. Nobody saw the actual altercation or know what happened. All that has been seen are the wounds thereafter, and he's got a few scratches on his lower back. So it could have been anyone. It could have been his brother Kunyuma, for all we know, but more likely his father Mvula, who will now be a lot less tolerant of his son, as it is time for him to move on. And that is normal for leopards to chase their sons out of their territory once they are mature. Or possibly another dominant male called Tingana, who will also not tolerate any young and upcoming competition. We'll never know the answer to that, sadly. We've got a great opportunity here to let Phil show you these impala in this golden afternoon sunlight, and they seem fairly riled up. Here we go, some chasing straight past the vehicle, and this is the remnants of the ruts that we can see. Absolutely awesome. Look at this. So that funny burping, gurgling roar you've just heard is the noise they make when they are trying to chase other males away, and it's a noise we only hear during the rutting season. Even though now the rutting has come and gone, all these boys are still charged with testosterone, and hence the behavior we're seeing. And I'm so happy to hear that all of you were happy to see Kunyuma again. I got so excited when I saw that it was a young male, and was almost certain it was either one of the two. And aren't we so lucky to have witnessed that? Just like most things in life, I guess, quality over quantity, and that perfect afternoon sunlight we saw washing over him made for an incredible sighting, as it continues to do now with different subjects, but an equally beautiful animal. And here we go, a bit more action here from the male impala. Even though all of this behavior we're seeing is not necessarily going to result in any one of them mating, it's very good practice for the next rutting season. And a lot of these males in this herd are still too young to mate, but all this running around and chasing is going to put them in good stead when they do in fact battle for ladies. But they're going to have to wait till next year. Okay, we're going to have to change our plan ever so slightly. There are some incredibly pretty birds that have come down to drink, and we are going to head across there to take you for a closer view. Well, it's all happening this afternoon, and if this is your first live safari, you've chosen a good afternoon to join. Oh, they're all flying away, so I'm just going to stop. And am I going to stop or am I going to go closer? Oh, there's just one left. Let's see if we can show it to you. It's just on the water's edge on the right there. Oh, no. But he's managed to pan across with it. It was an African green pigeon. They're incredibly beautiful birds that I clearly got very excited about when I saw them all coming down to land. But they took a quick drink and have now left us stuck here with not too much going on. But thankfully that can change shortly, and we may just head back to these impala. It's always tricky to try and decide whether whether to go for something to try and share it with you or to kind of write it off, but I think a lot of you will understand that it's worth the gamble from time to time. Afternoon, Gabby in Toronto, and welcome on board with us on this beautiful afternoon. Gabby would like to know if the leopard we've just seen, Kunyuma, would be able to hear the impala making this ratting noise and also be able to smell them. The wind isn't really blowing in the right direction, it's kind of blowing across us, so not towards where he was, but had it been blowing towards him, he certainly would have been able to hear it. And I can also be 100% certain that he would have been able to hear that noise from where he was. He's not far away, but he seemed quite intent in something else. He was possibly following the scent of another animal already. I'm not too sure, but he did seem quite focused. So it's a good question though, because ratting impala do provide a much easier source of prey to the predators, because the males are so caught up in fighting with one another that they lose track of the dangerous place they find themselves fighting in. Now, taking on a bit of a wild ride here to get to the impala, but I'm hoping this is going to work out. We've moved into some very, very thick bush. Is making it, or it's going to make it a bit difficult for us. Just trying to assess what to do here. Might be worth us just enjoying the view of these last two in front of us disappear, because they have headed off into some fairly thick vegetation, which will make filming very tricky. Well, good afternoon, Kelly in Blair Lake, Minnesota, and welcome on board with us. Kelly would like to know, how many days can a herbivore go with A, without eating, and B, without drinking? With eating, the herbivores that I've seen need to feed every single day. Now, obviously, if you were to prevent any of these animals for not eating for one day, they would survive, but typically they need to feed every day. So that's a general rule to that, but I guess there may be very unique periods where they would have nothing to feed on, maybe when they're moving from one very dry, drought-stricken area to another in search of food. In terms of water, it varies greatly on the individual animal. Some animal, like roan and sable, are not water dependent and will travel 30 or 40 or 50 miles, maybe once or twice a week, in order to get to an area where there is water, and then they'll move back to a very, very dry area which suits their feeding habits. So you do get some antelope that will also very seldom even need to drink and get a lot of their water from the food that they feed on. The steenbok, for example, is often believed to be completely reliant on food for its liquid, but there are actually some photographs of them drinking from water holes, so it's not entire truth, but they can go with many, many days and months without drinking just from the food that they feed on. So it all depends on the individual. Good question, though. And I'm just trying to decide where to head to next now. The impala have moved off, so is the leopard. I'm just going to get a quick update to see if he's continuing south away from us. Can any station confirm if that Madodengu is still mobile south along the Mulwati? Okay, copy, thanks. I was just double checking on the radio channel. That is a different channel to what we usually operate on. Interesting. I've just heard another update on that different channel. Sorry, I was a bit caught up in too many things there. But basically, there's different radio channels depending on which area you traverse. And for the people that traverse the area where the leopard went, where we couldn't go, I've just heard another update saying that there are monkeys alarm calling somewhere around Treehouse Waterhole, which is not far from where we are now. So let's hurry along there and see if we can't share these monkeys, find the monkeys, and then find out what the monkeys are bothered about. It could well be a leopard, either that, lion, or a very big bird of prey. All of which I would be happy to see with you.